So today I will show you few more attacks. Okay. So this time I would like to cover few application related attacks, guys. Last time we have seen how a system hacking can be happen if there is any vulnerabilities which are running in a specific port, right? You could have seen the previous recording and attended the previous demo session, right? So this time I'm going to show you few application layer attacks, web application related attacks, guys. One is, first of all, I'll teach you what is burp suite. Okay, see, burp suite is one of the very famous web application penetration testing tool. Okay, I think you might be heard about it. So if someone wants to download the Burp Suite, right, you can go to portsfigure.net. From there, you can download the community edition for free. Okay, this one. So there will be few features, which will be not available comparing with the professional. Of course, professional is a paid one, which will cost you around $450 per year license, and that is something which you are going to get it once you start working as a pen tester. But right now, we are going to use this community edition, which is for free. You guys can download this community edition by clicking here. You know, go straight to the downloads and install it, the latest version, right? In my case, I have already installed this Burp Suite community edition. I am already running it. I also have the Pro, okay, which I'm going to uh, you know explain through it, okay, in the actual sessions, guys. So right now, uh, okay, let me first give you an intro about this tool, right? Burp Suite. As I said, it's a application testing framework, web application testing framework, through which we can do automated scans like vulnerability scans. We can also call that as a dashed scans, like dynamic application security testing. It's like once the application is ready with the URL, either it is in the prod, either it is in the UAT environment or security environment, take that URL and put it over here in this tool and run the scan. Like here you have the new scan, right? Through which we can do it. But right now it is grayed out. It is available in the Pro. Okay, and there's all the various types of tools, guys. Okay, it's like a framework. Burp Suite is a framework which has a lot of small tools, integrated to it, which we can use it for various purposes when we are doing the application testing. Suppose we have a proxy, right? So this proxy will allow you to intercept all the traffic from the browser. Okay, so suppose, let's say, even this Burp Suite itself having a browser. So if I'm opening the browser, right? If I'm opening the browser and if I'm opening the target website, the traffic will go through this Burp Suite. Okay, and then you have an option over here like a proxy. You can intercept the traffic and you can um, forward the traffic. Okay, I'll just show you how it will look like, okay, with some kind of a slide so that you guys will understand it easily, right? So anyone have an experience of using this Burp Suite, guys? Have you guys used this Burp Suite anytime earlier? Anyone?
No.
All right.
No.
I think most of them are no. Okay. So usually the communication happens like directly client to server, right? When you open a browser, like when you browse something, suppose now I'm opening ports figure. So the traffic is going to the ports figure and the response is coming from the ports figure. But if I wanted to test this, if I wanted to see how the HTTP request is going, what sort of a headers it is carrying, okay, I need to intercept the traffic, right? So what I'll be doing is I'll be starting a Burp Suite in between, okay, with the help of the proxy, right? What happens is, so as soon as you start the Burp Suite, it will be started listening in the port number 8080 in the local host. Okay, so I have already started the burp suite, right? If you go to the proxy settings, you can see here it is listening on port number 8080, right? Now, even this browser is also defaultly configured to send the traffic to the port number 8080. Okay, it's like the client is sending the traffic to port number 8080 on the local host, and it is also listening, right? And through which all the traffic will be routed to the server. Okay, I'll just show you this. Okay, so this is a browser. I'm splitting this half, and the burp suite I'm splitting it half. Suppose if I'm opening something, let's say I'm opening a google.com. Okay, it is loaded. I mean, this traffic is now going to the Google through the burp only, guys. Okay, so if I do intercept on, okay, under the proxy intercept, if I do intercept on, and if I maybe refresh it, you can see here there is a request. Okay, there is a request which is going to the google.com, right? Now I have the option to forward this request. Either I can also drop the request, guys. Okay, but everything which I'm browsing, if I do intercept on, the traffic will directly go to the server. Okay, this will allow, I mean, the proxy is basically going to allow the tester to intercept the traffic before it reaches to the server. Why do we intercept it? To maybe, let's say I wanted to tamper the request. I wanted to modify something in the request. I can do that. Okay, for an example, I'm searching over here. Let's say, uh, I'm searching for something, right? I'm searching for, let's say, test, right? What I'm searching here, you can see test, right? Q. This question part is Q. Okay, test. I'm searching for test. Okay, instead of test, let's say I'm searching for car. Okay, I modified it as a car, and okay, I'm intercepting off. Okay, still it is car. Okay, no problem. This time let's do intercept on test. Hit enter. Okay, here is a test, right? So instead of test, maybe if I'm searching for car, right? See what we have searched and what it got loaded. Hmm? I mean, I'm just telling you, we can intercept the traffic. Okay, this is like very basic example, but a lot of things we can do it, right? We can capture the request, and from here we can also forward the traffic to other tools which we have. Okay, like intruder is there for performing the automated task. A repeater is there for performing the manual task. Okay, target is there which will record every request which is going from the browser and which helps us to create the sitemap of the website. Okay, it's like information gathering part. You understood, right? Why do we use this box fit? This is for intercepting the traffic and to test it. Okay, by playing around the request and response. So let's say now I am going to show you how do we perform the brute force attack on the application. Okay, so let me take a basic application. This is, let's say, a web application. Okay, so I'm going to sign in, right? I'm going to sign in. So here I have to put the username and password, right? I'm putting just admin and admin, right? Login. No, it is not the right username. So the right username and right password is what? Test and test. Of course, this is a testing website. So the right username and the right password is test and test. But as an attacker, okay, when if you wanted to perform the brute force attack to check uh, or log in with the various types of default credentials, so how we'll be doing it, right? First, what we'll be doing is he'll be putting some credentials over here, okay. But before he's sending to the server, he will do intercept on. Okay, we'll do intercept on login so that we can capture the request over here, right? You can see this is a request. It's going to server. It's carrying my username, the given username, and the given password, right? Now I wanted to perform the brute force attack. So I can right click, send this request to intruder. Just now I told, right, intruder is something which we can use it for performing the automated attack. So one brute force is also one of the automated attack only, right? Now here I'll choose the attack type as a cluster bomb, and I will clear everything first. Okay, now I'll choose the payload position, right? The username is a first payload position where I wanted to, throw or send each and every request with the different usernames, and password is the second parameter that I wanted to attack, right? So here it is selected. Okay, payload position 1 is selected, payload position 2 is also selected. You have a lot of options here, right? You can brute force it. Okay, but it will take a lot of time. You can also load simple word list which you have. Okay, or there are a lot of data breaches are also happening through which attackers can also get the latest you know word list which you got it from the internet. But for us, we don't have so much time. We will just add some few default usernames and passwords. It's like guessing, I can say. Okay, test dev. Okay, user mm, user one, test hello. Okay, QA. So I'm just giving some. Okay, I think this is passwords what I gave. Okay, no problem. Password pass at the rate 1 3. So you can also load from here. Okay, similarly you can also give some of the usernames as well, right? So what's going to happen is, so here you gave certain usernames and here you give certain passwords, right? So all these usernames and passwords are going to inject here in these places where we have selected, and it's going to send the each and every request to the server like this. You can see the first username, all usernames, and password. You can do it is doing all the permutations and combinations over here. It is sending the request to the server, right? So you can see it is going to try with the 84 different attempts on that particular application. If you want to do it this manually, it will take a lot of time, right? One after one you need to try. But with the help of this intruder, we have automated the entire attack, right? And so here we are getting the status code is 302. Okay, I think once the login is done successfully, we should get the status code as a 200, or the length might be bigger than the login failed attempt that we need to look for, right? We know that, okay, the right username and right password is what? Test and test, right? I think it is also there somewhere. Okay, here you can see the 44th one, right? Test and test. The status code is 200 and the length is also 21036, which is more than the previous one, right? I can also see that request. You can see test and test, it is injected and it got the response over here, and I was able to log in into the application. I can see that data. I can see that I have logged in with the test user, right? Understand, guys? See, I can use the same credentials now to log in into the application. Can anyone tell me why this has happened? I mean, how do we maybe stop such type of attacks? See, I was able to log in. I can able to see the same response as I have it in the Burp Suite, right? Understand? I think it might be completely new. Some people might have certain questions you guys can ask and clarify. Of course, we are going to learn in this way only in the upcoming sessions. Okay, this is just to again make you understand how we are going to learn the further sessions, right? Can anyone tell me how can we stop prevent such type of attacks? And I think most of you, I mean, I have heard most of you are already experienced people and have experience towards the testing. Hmm? Maybe you can try. If it is wrong also, that's fine. I can also give you a hint, guys. Let's think of banking application. Hmm?
Getting OTP.
Sorry.
OTP.
Okay, multi-factor authentication, right?
Yes. Multiple.
Even if the username password goes to the attacker hands, he cannot do anything. He has to enter again. He has to authenticate himself with the another method, right?
Yes.
Yeah, multi-factor authentication is one, and this is all automated attack, right? This is all
Oh,
automated attack. So if you can have something like captcha, okay, that will also
yep.
help us to prevent the attacks.
Yes.
And if you look into the banking application, right, what they do is they block you when you log in with the same IP, same user for 3 to 4 times. Okay, they lock out your account. There should be some kind of account lockout policy in the place and strong password policy in the place, right? All of these are the countermeasures I can say to prevent the such type of a automation. I mean, such type of attacks like automated attacks or brute force attack. Okay, yeah, this is one example, and okay, I'll also cover another example with some other website, right? This time, okay, let's discuss about um, how SQL injection happens. Okay, what is the attack that I'm going to cover? SQL injection. So in OASP, one of the category is basically injections, which is very famous. And this was in the first place, in a previous OASP, and before that also it was like almost a decade. It was in the first place because this injection attacks are very critical. Okay, if the application is vulnerable for, let's say, SQL injection attack, what is SQL? SQL is structured query language which we use it to communicate with the database, right? So through which attackers can able to compromise. I can say if the application is vulnerable for the SQL injection, right? They can able to read all the confidential data from the database. They can able to modify, delete. Okay, uh, yeah, delete. I mean, and that is I can say for any company, right? The database is like kind of a heart, right? It'll have all the information stored in it. If that got compromised, of course, that can lead to very serious security, data breach and all, right? So with that SQL injection, I'm going to show you how can we able to bypass the authentication. Okay, how can we bypass the authentication? So suppose let's say I'm logging in with test or test. Okay, here I'm putting the username and password is something like test and test. and I'm trying to log in. Is it taking a lot of time? Okay, let me maybe try in this browser. Okay, see, I don't have the credentials over here, right? Maybe I'll try to log in with okay, Rohit, login. Okay, the website itself is slow. What happens once you give this username and password into the application? Hmm? So it will check in the database whether this username and password is there or not. Okay. Now I gave Rohit and Rohit. Of course, we are not a user in the application, so it has given the error saying that of course the username and password was not found in our system. Please try again. Right. But if the application is vulnerable for the SQL injection attack, still a Rohit can able to log in into the application, right? But how do we identify if it is vulnerable or not, right? We just have to do some fuzzing, okay, by adding, let's say, single quote over here, and I'm putting some password. Go. Okay. So again we got the error, but this time not login failed error. This time we got a syntax error. Why we got syntax error? The reason is very simple. This time I have added something called as a single quote. Okay. I think because of that single quote, the query didn't properly got executed in the backend, which has created the error for us, which means the injected data from the user is getting executed part of the query. It should not, right? Suppose if I'm giving something over here, it should only consider that as a username. Okay. It should not treat that as a query, or it should not include that in the query, and it should not execute it. It is doing it. That's the reason we got the error, and this is now vulnerable for the SQL injection. Okay, I can show you that same thing. Like same row is single quote. Okay, I'm writing something called R1 equal to 1 hyphen hyphen space and then some password. Okay, and login. And this is very basic payload. I'll explain in a minute. Okay, how this payload is you know going to work. And this time if you look into the response, right, it should allow me to log in into the application without what happened. Okay, you guys can able to hear me properly, right? I think the okay, it's working fine. Yeah, you can see, guys. Now I was able to log in into the application as an admin. Do you believe that? Without having the proper credentials, okay, just simply exploiting the SQL injection vulnerability, I was able to directly log in into the administrator account. You can see I was able to access all the transactions. Okay, I can also do fund transfer. Of course, this is a demo application. Again, I'm telling you, right? But you can see how worse things can happen if there is no application security, or if we have this type of attacks, right? So if you maybe try to understand what happened over here, how it has basically allowed me to log in as an administrator is very simple, right? See, whatever the data that you're putting into the application in those parameters, right? Username and password parameters. That data, going to the server with by using an SQL query. The SQL query, I'm just assuming the SQL query. The SQL query will look like this: select star from some table. We don't know the table name. Okay, where the username equal to something and password equal to something, right? So our data goes here, right? I have written Rohit, okay, and I have also given some password like Rohit and all. So when I gave this statement, it just said what? Login failed, right? But after that, what I have done, I have modified this by adding a single quote. Okay, and when I give the single quote, it has given the syntax error. And why we got the syntax error? And if you are trying to understand, right? See, our given single quote is got executed as a part of the query, which means like this single quote, which is in the backend, which is written by developer, and our single quote got closed. Another single quote which was remain, you know, right? Because of what the syntax error is created, through which I have understood that my given data is getting executed part of the query. So what I have done, simply I have added a payload like this. Okay, what I have done, I have just simply added a payload here. First, I have commented out. Hyphen hyphen is basically to comment out the rest of the part. It's going to comment out the rest of the part when you give hyphen hyphen. And in between, I have written R1 equal to 1, which means I have written a true statement. So usually what happens is if the username and password is true and true, you will get a true message, right? Which is 1 is true, 0 is for false. So I myself only declare that true, 1 equal to 1. Either it will check if the Rohit is present or not. Anyway, Rohit is not there. So R true 1 equal to 1, which is allowed me to log in into the application as a first user into the database, that is administrator. Okay. Because of that, I was able to log in over here as an admin. Okay. I can also show you one more time the same thing. We can also try the same thing over here, guys, in the other website. Okay, I'll show you this. How can we do it with the Bob suite? Okay, you will understand it. Intercept on, right? Okay, let's first go and do the intercept off. We'll only capture when we are hitting this request to server. Okay, some username and password. Before I'm sending it to the server, I'm doing intercept on. I want to capture this request. Okay, here is the request. You can see it's going to server, right? Now this time I'll test it with repeater. Okay. Okay. Repeater is basically for doing the manual testing. You can send the repetitive request to the server and check the responses here itself. Right. See, send. Okay, you got the response. It says that I think password is wrong. You must log in. It is redirecting to login page. Okay. Yeah. We didn't log in. Okay. So if I give a single quote, okay, what I'm doing, I'm giving a single quote, go. See what happened? Along with the error, you must log in. We also got a warning message error from the SQL, which means again my injected data is getting executed part of the query. So simply I can first comment out the rest of the thing by giving hyphen hyphen space. Okay, you can see the error is gone. Now I can write R 100 equal to 100. Of course, that is also true message, and you can see I was able to log in now, right? I was able to log in as a test user. Understand? This is how we can also use this repeater to test it. Okay. Um, hope this is clear. Hope this is clear to you guys what we have covered today. I know uh, the concept wise it might be clear to you, but how do we use this tool, from how the request is going, the response, okay, these things might be new to you. But someone who is working with the application testing, okay, from the testing background, or playing, I mean, developers, uh, right, who has an application knowledge, they might be most familiar with what I have done today. But anyway, I have the things planned for you from the very basics, guys. Okay, I'm going to start this application security part. Okay, once we're done with the network part, from the very basic, I'll make you understand what is web application, how the web application architecture will look like, what are the different types of attacks possible on the each layer, and I'll make you understand about the basics of HTTP and HTTP protocol components like request, response, okay, and practical example. Then what is OASP, what is burp suite, each and every tool about the burp suite, how do we use it, how to set up it, okay, with installation steps. So then only we will start the application security testing by following this application security testing methodology, right? So we'll start from information gathering, okay, vulnerability detection, exploitation, post-exploitation reporting, and how do we do the remediation and retesting? What is black box testing, white box testing, gray box testing? Where do we use what? Okay, advantages, disadvantages, right? Once we cover, and once I give all the very basic knowledge about the application security, then only we are going to start with the, okay, the WASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Clear? Yeah, guys. Uh, yeah. So these are the two examples. I thought of covering it for today, and then I'll take I'll take your questions, guys, if you have something. Yeah, guys.